Okay. Alan, this would be the time for you to tell me if you can hear me okay.
Everything seems to be okay in Zoom.
Okay, good. Boy, it got so quiet. Thank you all. You are very good. Okay, my name is Tony Berry, and I am the leader for the Mission Viejo chapter of the Hearing Loss Association of America. Um, so things are going to be a little bumpy today because we have a lot of people, several people who are supposed to be here to be presenters are stuck on the freeway. And so we're just going to change things up a little bit. This room has a hearing loop. How many people have telecoil? Okay, so you have the option to turn on your T-coils and hear me directly in your ear, streaming directly in your ear. Okay. If you do not have a T-coil, if you do not have hearing aids, you do have the option to borrowing a headset, because sometimes the reverberation in the room is pretty bad. So if you'd like to borrow an assistive listening device, it's available up in the front. So, and this is how you do it. You turn it on and you adjust the volume and you hear it right directly in your ears. So this is for people who don't have telecoil or don't know if they have telecoil. They still have to find out. Or if you don't have hearing aids. So, all right. Here in Laguna Woods, most of the meeting rooms are all have hearing loops, and it'll be so much easier for you to hear and understand everything that's being said. I'm talking to the residents here in Laguna Woods. Okay. Turn this around. Now where's my little first time around? So we are here to bring hope back to hearing loss. So hearing loss is different for everybody. We have very mild hearing loss and we have people with profound hearing loss. And any way along the way can be very painful. It can be isolating. And this is a place to come where we can learn how to live well with hearing loss, in spite of hearing loss. And we know that educated consumers hear better. So a lot of times when you are talking to a hearing aid provider, you don't even know the questions to ask. But once you start learning, you'll know the questions to ask for yourself. So see if we can, there we go. This meeting is being recorded. Nobody in the audience is being recorded at all. But with the recording will be put on our YouTube channel. So if this is a recording or if this is a topic that you would like somebody to see, you'll be able to send them to the YouTube channel and get it. You can always email me for a link and you can share the YouTube. Okay. I always do an HLAA disclaimer. HLAA does not endorse any single product or service. We also don't sell anything. This meeting is intended to provide information, education, and support. We do have a sponsor. Our sponsor is Caption Call. And I know many of you here have Caption Call. Because back in the day, I used to work for them and I used to install them here in Laguna Woods, but it's been a while. So they provide landline phones that can connect to your existing phone line. They could also, if you don't have a phone line, they can provide that. They also have an iPhone or Android app that you can use on your cell phone to get your calls captioned for you. And iPads and tablets too. So we thank Caption Call and we bring that to your attention because life is calling. And they sponsor us by providing, they pay for our captioner. There's a picture of our captioner. This is captioner Joe Gale. She's in Chicago, Illinois right now. Through the wonders of the internet, she's able to hear everything that we're saying and caption it in real time. So there's the caption over there. All right. And those people that are on Zoom, you can turn the captions on. Check the CC button in your status bar. All right. So we want to thank all of our sponsors and our board members. And I want to thank Alan Katsura, who's our Zoom administrator. He's holding hands with everybody on Zoom right now in case they have an issue. And we have Alan, who is our cameraman here. Appreciate that. Daniel's handling refreshments, and Marla's a VP, and she just helps out in so many different ways. And Bob Rennie, I hope he comes. Bob, come on in. He's the greeter out there. And so we do want him to come in and enjoy the program. We also have Dr. Gabby is our audiology advisor. So she's always coming to the meetings, and it really helps out to have somebody who is a licensed professional answer your questions that maybe I can't answer for you or we can't answer for each other. Okay. Our chapter is a 501c3. We're coming to the end of the year. We'd be happy to accept all your donations, and it can be a tax write-off. So please think of us in your will and donate and support the chapter. Yeah, let's see. You can go to hlaamv.org and Dr. Gaddy. We're going to start taking a little donation right here. Okay. Marla, do you want to go on the other side there? And Dr. Gabby? All right. So I already paid the rent to Laguna Woods for this meeting room, and it was $650. So we do have expenses. All right. And again, that's my name and that's my email address, my phone number, and I'm going to make a couple of announcements when we have our first presenter. On the agenda, you'll see on the back, our December meeting is not going to be the second Tuesday like we usually have it. It's going to be on the second Monday. Instead, it's going to be on the first Monday, December 2nd. So if you marked the second Monday, because that's when we usually have it, you got to change it now. It's December 2nd. And we're going to have some really nice holiday treats. And we're going to talk about some things. I'm going to tell you some secrets that you need to know and that will help you. And we're also going to cover a couple of my favorite subjects. We're going to talk about hearing loops, and we're going to talk about audiology best practices. So, and I also want to hear your questions, and we'll try to find solutions for your questions. So that's now that's December 2nd. December 5th, we are offering, I'm part of it. We're offering free hearing screenings. They're available only for Laguna Woods residents on December the 5th. They're going to be at the Florence Sylvester Center. You must register. You must make an appointment. And they're the Laguna Woods Social Services will be providing financial assistance to qualified residents. That's a big deal. So I've been working with a group of ladies from the village and also from Saddleback Memorial Hospital. And we've been meeting every month and putting this together. And they've got a grant to help pay for some financial assistance for hearing aids. So that's December the 5th. And that information's on the back of your agenda. Did everybody get an agenda? And you can take notes on the back. Okay. And when you came in, you probably got a little yellow piece of paper. When you leave, if you would just jot down, answer the questions, tell us how we're doing. And this is a good way to ask me any questions you want to ask me, and I'll get back to you. All right. Now, I'm sort of rushing through here. Our first presenter is going to be Advanced Bionics. Come on up, Allie. And while she's coming up here, I have to tell you, Cochlear America is supposed to be after Allie, but they are stuck on the freeway. We have one representative here. Okay, but we're going to move you to the end in hopes everybody else can get in here. Okay. That's 5 South is a mess. So, okay. So Allie, come here. So what you're going to do, you can use this to move. Oops. Just move.
Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you.
Your question slide is on there, but we're going to take questions after everybody has presented.
Perfect.
And then they all going to have a table with information. And we also have a surprise. We have a surprise visitor over here. We have Caption has come. We saw him saw them both at the San Diego Walk for Hearing, and I invited them to come along. So if the CI is not for you, but you want captions for your phone, you need to talk to Matt and Christine. Okay. All right. So
Perfect.
now you got this. Well, I'd like you to use this. Because we will use this if we need to talk
Okay.
to people over there.
Perfect.
Okay. So
Should I hold it?
you can.
There we go.
Yes.
All
And
right.
remember to look in the camera
Perfect.
occasionally.
All
Okay,
right.
thank you.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. So if you don't know me, my name is Eier. I work for Advanced Bionics, one of the 3 cochlear implant companies. A little bit about myself. I live in the San Diego area. I did drive through that bad traffic today. And I've been with AB for a little over 9 years. So who is Advanced Bionics? So again, Advanced Bionics is one of the 3 cochlear implant companies. We are the only company that creates and designs our cochlear implants in the United States. And it's right here in your backyard. So if you've been to Magic Mountain, the next stop after Magic Mountain is where Advanced Bionics is headquartered. We create all of our cochlear implants and we send them out around the world. So before getting into specifics about Advanced Bionics, let's just briefly talk about what is a cochlear implant. Does anyone here have a cochlear implant? Okay, we've got a handful of hands. Great. So basically hearing aids, who here has hearing aids? Okay. Is anyone here considering a cochlear implant? Okay, just here to hear more. Great. So hearing aids are often the first thing that we use when we have hearing loss. What happens is when your hearing loss gets too severe, hearing aids can only help to a certain point. If all you're hearing is noise, we turn the sound up, but you're just turning up the noise. You're turning up that distortion. A cochlear implant passes the part of the ear that's no longer working to give you access to sound again. That being said, it's a new way of hearing. You're hearing with electricity, So it takes the brain some time to learn how to listen again. So Advanced Bionics Cochlear Implant, there's two main parts of all cochlear implants. One part is the part on the inside, which is the implant, and then the part that's worn on the outside is called the processor. So in this picture, you can see Advanced Bionics Cochlear Implant Processor, which is called Marvel or NAIDA CI-M90. So a couple of the things that you may recognize is that there's a little something dangling in the opening of the ear. So that's called a T-mic. So that is a microphone that hangs in the opening of the ear to use the shape of your ear to naturally help you hear better. It can be worn with the T-mic or without the T-mic. So on the actual processor itself, which is on the ear, that's where your microphones are, in addition to the microphone in the opening of the ear. That's picking up the sound, digitally sending it to the headpiece, which is the circle on the top, which goes to the implant, and then that is sent through electric impulses to your auditory nerve. One of the unique things about Advanced Bionics is our partnership with Phonak. So does anyone here have Phonak hearing aids? Some people may know. Yep. Okay. So a couple of people with Phonak hearing aids. So Phonak and Advanced Bionics are sister companies, and we're both owned under a company called Sonova. So because of that, we have 77 years of technology from Phonak integrated directly into our cochlear implants. Also, because of that, we can do unique things between your ears that no other cochlear implant company can do. So you can have a hearing aid on one ear and a cochlear implant on your other ear. And through Advanced Bionics and Phonak, all of this is aligned. Not only is it aligned with the features of changing the volume on one side, which changes the volume on the other side, or through the app on your phone, but your microphones actually work together between your ears, which can be really helpful for hearing in noise when everything is aligned on both ears. In addition to that, we of course can also stream to both the cochlear implant and the hearing aid. Another unique thing about Advanced Bionics and Phonak is our cross device. The cross is essentially a set of microphones that's worn on the opposite ear that picks up the sound, sends it to the cochlear implant on your other ear for you to hear from both sides of your head. Has anyone here used bi-cross hearing aids or a cross device before? So some people may be familiar with that with hearing aid technology. Again, because of Advanced Bionics and Phonak, this is possible for someone that only has one cochlear implant, but either isn't ready for a second cochlear implant, or maybe is too old for a second cochlear implant, or just doesn't want to do surgery again. So now to change to the implant itself. So the implant itself with Advanced Bionics, we have the only superiority rating for our implant that says that you can hear better in noise with the cochlear implant. In addition to that, MRIs are a hot topic with cochlear implants. With previous cochlear implants, an MRI was a contraindication. They would say no MRIs for you, but that's not the case anymore with the cochlear implants today. With Advanced Bionics, you can see in the implant with you can see on my shadow pointing, and on the top right of the screen, you can see that there's 4 magnets inside our magnets. So we're the only company that has a 3-dimensional magnet that is aligned in all dimensions when you go into the MRI machine. What that means is that there's no hassle of head wrapping, there's no worries of the magnet becoming out of alignment and causing pain and torque, especially if you have 2 cochlear implants, which ultimately the biggest thing is that we don't want to have an interruption in your hearing. In terms of the cochlear implant itself, the part on the end of the cochlear implant is called the electrode array. The electrode array is typically surgical preference, And both of Advanced Bionics arrays are designed to protect those delicate structures of your cochlea, as well as provide complete coverage of the cochlea for the full spectrum of sound with our current steering. In terms of reliability, all cochlear implants today are very reliable. So in the 99% range. So at Advanced Bionics, we take this a step further and we go beyond typically what you would test a cochlear implant to, which is the standard that the FDA dictates. We test our implant to failure to make sure that it's going to withstand whatever you may face, so you won't have to worry about your cochlear implant. Another unique thing about Advanced Bionics is our telehealth feature. Does anyone here see their doctor maybe on a virtual call through a screen on their phone or their computer? A couple of head nods. So this is also possible with Advanced Bionics, as well as if you have that phonak hearing aid on your other ear. So Advanced Bionics is the only company that offers that real-time synchronous ability to be able to have that remote programming from the comfort of your home. It kind of looks like a FaceTime or a video call on your phone. Anything your audiologist can do in person, they're able to do virtually through your phone. This is also really helpful if, say, you're in an environment like today where there's really tall ceilings, or you go to your favorite restaurant and it's difficult to hear. You could have your appointment with your audiologist, go to that physical location, and know if the changes that they're making in real time are actually helping versus being in that perfect sound booth that sounds great, and then you go home and you're disappointed. So again, other unique things about the remote programming is the ability that if you're living far away, to have that flexibility, not have to worry about having someone pick you up or get there or deal with parking, whether you're going to Orange County or if you're going to LA, all of that time that you're able to save. And Advanced Bionics is designed for those active moments and for active lifestyles. I see a beautiful golf course right behind us. You can see in the picture on the top right, if you look at my shadow or the top right of your screen, you can see the waterproof battery that Advanced Bionics has. So Advanced Bionics is the only company that has a microphone that is completely waterproof. So there's nothing covering your microphone, nothing muffling your access to sound, and there's no limit of how long that you can use this in the water or around water or doing one of your favorite activities. Another thing that you can check out, and I have some postcards on my table, is Hearing Journey. So this is hearingjourney.com. This is our online forum to learn about cochlear implants, to connect with others that have cochlear implants. There's actually over 40,000 people on this site now. Some people have cochlear implants. Some people are professionals working with people with cochlear implants. It's free. It's open to all cochlear implant manufacturers. Advanced Bionics does monitor the site to make sure there's no misinformation, to make sure there's no brand bashing, and to make sure that there's no medical information provided by other people. Another great resource that I recommend is Hearing Success. So this is hearingsuccess.com. This is Advanced Bionics and Phonak's online hub for all of our resources. Again, all of these are free as well. My favorite is Sound Success, which is one of the ways that you can start to work on some of those skills to give you the confidence to go out and try. And again, at AB, we're all about customizing what we have to make it fit into your lifestyle. That may be something as simple as color, that you want to have a color option, or maybe you want to have one neutral processor and one colored processor. Or that may mean connectivity for you, whether it's one of our accessories that you have, or just the ability for your cochlear implant to have Bluetooth, which is again a unique thing about Advanced Bionics is the Bluetooth capability of our cochlear implants. We're the only company that you don't need to hold the phone or use an accessory to talk on the phone. Your phone could be charging in the corner of the room and you can answer on your ear. The person on the other side of the phone call can hear you and you can hang up that phone from your ear. And again, AB is all about being as individualized as you are. There's a lot of cochlear implant options that you get to pick and choose to come with your cochlear implants. So one of the reasons, I don't want to say that I exist, but one of the reasons that my role exists is to be there to help you learn what is going to be best for you and your lifestyle to figure out what's going to be best to get with your cochlear implants. And that is it. I have my contact information on the screen, but feel free to come talk to me afterwards if you have any questions. And now, yes, and now we have Marla. So Marla Peoples has 2 advanced Bionics cochlear implants. She's going to share a little bit about her story.
Thank you, Allie. Yeah, my name's Marla Peoples, and a little bit about my background. I was born deaf in my left ear, and at age 13, I woke up one morning with sudden sensory neural hearing loss in my right ear. I lost over 60% of my hearing, literally overnight. Began wearing a hearing aid. They said the diagnosis was cochlear hydrops, a collection of fluid in the inner ear that had damaged the hair cells. Once those are damaged, you can't get it back. But I had a shunt operation. The Dr. William House inserted a shunt in my inner ear that diverted the fluid away, and it stabilized my hearing for many years. 44 years later, I go put on my hearing aid one morning, and everything sounded muffled. And I'm thinking, this hearing aid's only a year and a half old. It can't be in its life yet. I must have had another hard drop, and went to my audiologist, and she confirmed, yes, you have the most powerful hearing aid right now. There's nothing more powerful. You need to look at a cochlear implant. So I went back up to the house clinic, which I have a long history going back to 67 with them. And they put me through all kinds of tests, and they determined, yes, I was a candidate. I had my right ear implanted in 2012. And after my activation, my oldest brother, he was a retired deputy sheriff. He went with me. And when I was activated, he started talking to me, and I started laughing. And he looked at my audiologist and he said, "Why is she laughing at me?" And she said, "Well, you probably sound like a high-pitched chipmunk or something." And true, it was very high-pitched and it sounds so funny, I had to laugh. Now that lasts for a very short period, just a few weeks, and everything normalizes out. And I do have a memory for sound before I lost my hearing, and everything sounded the way it did before I ever lost my hearing. In fact, I appreciate so much the difference between a cochlear implant and a hearing aid. It's totally different. I think the big thing is clarity. You have so much more clarity with a cochlear implant than you ever did for the hearing aid, because the hearing aid, you're bringing all that sound in all at once, and it's all competing with each other, and it becomes very difficult to hone in on voices. But with the hearing aids, but with the cochlear implant, they have the ability to squelch a lot of that extra noise, and you can actually hone in on the voice. And another thing that I appreciate so much with this is the Bluetooth. I tell you, listening to music with Bluetooth, it's a whole new appreciation for music. It's wonderful. I just love listening to that. A year after I got my right ear done, I took a leap of faith, a big leap of faith, and got an implant for my left ear, my forever deaf ear. I was 59 at the time. My doctor and the audiologist said, we can't guarantee you're going to hear anything, if anything. And, nothing shows that you can't do it. I mean, your radiology tests are fine. So I went ahead and did it. And at first, I heard what was like a sonar beep, but nothing else. No real voice, no words. And I came away feeling, oh my God, what did I do? But then I realized, wait a minute, I'm hearing something. I'm hearing something in the ears. I've never heard anything. And if you look at my audiogram on my left ear, it was non-recordable. But after my cochlear implant, I'm at 40 dB. With my right, I'm up to 20, 25. So it's really been a great game changer for me. And it's given me a lot of confidence and a lot of feeling at ease when I'm in situations that I have to hear. It used to be very stressful with a hearing aid to get in a group of people, go to a restaurant. And I said, I'm not even going to bother talking to people because it's going to be a lost cause. But now not only can I understand everybody and the restaurant noise doesn't bother me, and I am at so much more ease with this. So I'm very happy that I did it. And well, another thing we have when we have meetings, we have what's called wishes and wows. We'll have candidates come and recipients come. And the candidates, we ask them, what do you wish for with a cochlear implant? And so they'll say, well, I want to hear more clearly. I want to be able to understand my grandchildren. Their voices are so high, I can't understand them. And with the people who are recipients, we have wows. What are the wows? And I'll tell you, at the beginning, the first few years, there's a lot of wows. I mean, I never heard thunder before, and now I hear thunder. And people look at me and crazy, and you're happy at hearing thunder? Yeah, I've never heard it before. I may have felt some of the vibration, but I never heard it. To hear a kitten purr, I might have felt it, but I never heard it. To hear a whisper, I never heard a whisper before. Somebody wanted to lean over, whisper in my ear. I said, forget it. I'm not going to hear you. But now I can not only hear them, I can understand totally. So there's a lot of things, a lot of wows. And you're going to hear that. At first, you're going to ask people, what is that sound? I don't really recognize it. And you're going to drive your family crazy because you're going to say, what was that? What was that? And they'll tell you, and they'll tell you. Pretty soon, your memory for hearing will kick in, and you go, yeah, that's right. That's an airplane. That's a helicopter. That's, things like that. So anyway, that's my story.
We'll have Medell come up now. All right. Oh. Yeah, switch. I didn't have time to flip these around, so there we go. Okay, Andrea Vargas is here, and she made it.
I did.
The traffic is still pretty hairy out there. The other company's still not on board, but they're online. They're watching.
Good.
Okay, so this is where you you can use this. You
Okay.
should be able to use it. Let me get the first one going. There you go.
And with this microphone, do you guys hear me? Do you want me to hold it? Okay. Well, hi, everyone. Thank you for being here with us today and for allowing us some time to talk about a little bit about Medell. I'm Andrea Vargas, and I'm actually a speech pathologist and a certified auditory verbal therapist. So I've been working in the field of hearing loss for over 15 years. I'm originally from Costa Rica, so my native language is Spanish. I came to the US for grad school and then stayed. Now have a beautiful family and we live in San Diego. So I was also driving through the traffic, but luckily made it. So today I will share with you the partner care program with Medell, because we all know that the journey of hearing loss can be overwhelming and you want to feel supported and you want to know that you have someone that can, hold your hand and lead you through the way. So there's a consumer engagement manager like myself that will help you with the awareness process, understanding if you're a candidate, how the Cochlear implant works, explain to you all the basics, and learning about it, learning about what technologies are available for you, and then helping you choose a device that works best for you until you get it. And then after, then living with it, what it's going to be like, how to incorporate it in your daily routines, and any other support resources that you might need along the way. Another way we support people who are going through the process is through the Hear Peer program. So we'll host meetings. These are virtual meetings, and we have recipients who volunteer their time and share their stories. And candidates or recipients can ask them questions and kind of just learn from the experience of living with a cochlear implant. So the next one, we're going to skip the holidays because everyone is so busy that the next one will be in January 2025. And the best way to contact us is through scheduling an appointment, and I can give you my information at the table after the presentation. You could also call us, email us, text us. We're always available. And after you become a recipient, there's what we call Medell Mondays, where you can have a class that will teach you all the device little things, because you'll get a huge backpack and you might not know what to do with all of the accessories and things. So you can sign up for one of these classes and they'll walk you through all of the parts and answer any questions. These are live and virtual also. So there's different topics that are covered and you can sign up for the one that works for you. You'll get resources after that meeting that you can print out, and also videos that will be sent out. And also, if that class is not enough, you can also schedule one-on-one appointments with one of our audiologists at Medell, and they'll have a 30-minute consultation with you and go through any troubleshooting issues that you have, any connectivity help that you need or guidance. These are free and unlimited. So you can always reach out. Know that there's always someone available. The customer service is available 24/7, 360 days of the year. So, life happens. And if you are off sound, then you want to be able to reach out to someone so that they can help you troubleshoot. So know that there's that service available also. These are all the resources. And I think another important thing to mention about Medell is how it's the only company that focuses on the uniqueness of the cochlea. So we're all born with full-size cochleas, and our cochleas do not change over time. So by the time you're born, that same cochlea is going to stay the same through the years, but it is unique to you. So it's like your fingerprint. Your right cochlea and your left cochleas are different than mine, than anybody else's. So what Medell does to individualize the cochlear implants is that they'll measure that cochlea. It is called Otoplan, and it's the only company that is doing that. And the reason why is because if you want to really hear with your full cochlea, like nature intended, we have to know what size it is. It's kind of like knowing the size of shoe before you actually wear or buy a shoe. You want to know what size you are so you can actually find the one that's going to fit the best. And that's why there are actually now 6 different lengths for the internal part of the cochlear implant, so that the surgeon can select which one is the size that's going to best fit your unique cochlea. So we say at Medell, we got you covered. And if you have any questions, you can come to the table and I'm happy to answer them. And I would love to introduce you to Camille Jenkins, which is a Medell recipient and user, and she'll share her story.
Hi, my name is Camille, and I've actually attended these meetings a couple of times in the past because I've known Tony for several years. And so it's good to be back. I want to let you know that I'm just going to take a few minutes because there's so many speakers today and we don't want to keep you all afternoon. But I do want you to know, if you're interested in more details about my hearing loss story, I actually have it written out at several pages. I can email you, so you can just let me know after the meeting if you're interested in that, okay? You'll hear a lot of similar things as Marla has mentioned, because there's a lot of similarities regardless of which cochlear implant company that you end up going with. It's just the whole process of getting a cochlear implant. It's very different from Marla. I grew up with totally normal hearing, but I lived in a very hearing impaired world. You see, my mother was one of 6 children, and 3 of them, my mother, my aunt, and my uncle, were all profoundly hearing impaired. And so they wore hearing aids. Unfortunately, hearing aids in that time frame were not like hearing aids today. The technology wasn't nearly as good. I would have given anything for my mother to have had hearing aid technology like today, or to have cochlear implants at that time. Anyway, I grew up hating everything about hearing loss, everything. And that was because my mother handled her hearing loss in a very different way. She was always trying to protect it, covering it up. She wouldn't tell someone she had a hearing loss. And instead, she would just try to fake it, and she would just come across as incredibly stupid. And so, it was just, she approached her hearing loss story so differently than I learned to, and that my aunt did. So anyway, I grew up hating hearing loss. So after graduate school, I was teaching a class and running a program at the University of Alabama. And one of the things I did is I ran a women's dorm, and I had a lot of student athletes in my dorm, female student athletes. And one night, one of them said, "Camille, your TV is so loud. Do you know that?" And like everything went off in my head like fireworks, because I know that if you're playing a TV loud, that this can be an indication that you're having struggles hearing. So I went over to the University of Alabama's hearing department. I'd had hearing tests all my life. Everything was always fine. And so I went into this hearing at the university. The audiologist did a test, and they go, "Yeah, you have a hearing loss. You need hearing aids." And they said it just like that. They were not considerate. Here, the one thing that I had lived in fear of my entire life, of having a hearing loss and being anything like my mother, had come true. So anyway, I started wearing one hearing aid at about age 29, and I started wearing 2 at age 35. I was an excellent hearing aid user. I worked very hard at it. I was a very good hearing aid user. But in 2007, I experienced several life changes that put a lot of stress in my life. And stress can have a lot of impacts in your life. And it seemed to have my hearing, I could tell, was not as good. So I did the thing that any good hearing aid user does. I go out and buy more hearing aids. I buy 2 more new hearing aids. Well, that didn't work. So I get 2 more. I don't do it just once, I do it twice. And so then I finally had to face the fact that I am going to have to look at a cochlear implant. So the problem with a cochlear implant is that they tell you, okay, you need to buy a CI. These are the 3 companies that sell them. And you're like, what? It's like, I was expecting the doctor, if you have something wrong with your body, typically a doctor is going to kind of give you some guidance, tell you what to do. Well, that wasn't true for a cochlear implant. Well, you think by this time, my mother and my aunt had had cochlear implants in the early 1990s, okay? So you would think I know all about hearing loss and having cochlear implants because my mom has one and my aunt has one. The difference is this was going to go in my head. It was going to be my surgery, and whichever company I chose, I knew that I was going to be married to that company for life. It's not an easy thing to get a divorce from a cochlear implant. And so this is who I was going to be. So I started doing a ton of research. I even hired a master's degree research librarian from USC to help me find data. Because in 2009, 2010, there wasn't as much information out there. There wasn't a lot of, they didn't have the people like we have these ladies who are with these companies who go out and speak to people. I didn't have all that information. So I was doing an awful lot of research. So in the end, I chose Med-El. And at that time, and again, you have to remember this is 2010, 14 years ago. At that time, Med-El was the first and only cochlear implant company that I could get an MRI with. They were also the first to offer a 5-year warranty on their processor. They were also the only company that would be guaranteeing what's called backward compatibility. And what that means is every time Med-El comes out with a new external device, I will always be able to use it. My mother's implant was with a different company and they skip generations. So she would have to wait extra years to get a new processor, even if she was eligible for it, because it was not compatible with inside her head. So there were a whole list of reasons that I chose the company that I did. And once I made that decision, I felt really good about it. So my surgery was in July of 2010. And it's interesting because every hearing loss is different. Every cochlear implant journey is different. When I was activated 4 weeks after my implant, the very first words out of my mouth to my audiologist, I said, this had better get a whole lot better. I was not happy. I was not happy at all. And my audiologist is like, it will. And I'm like, yeah, right. And so now my mother, she kind of like Marla, who had not heard anything on that ear. Well, when my mother was activated, the opposite of me, she's crying words of joy. She's so happy to hear anything. Not me. I wanted to hear speech. I wanted to hear everything the way I used to. So anyway, I, after about 30 days with my implant, I was beginning to hear kind of like I did with hearing aid. That was like even. So I was still very disappointed. I actually came to an HLA meeting one time and I met this woman who had gotten an implant and she was telling me how great she could hear. I said, I can't talk to you, just go away. I couldn't even hear it. I was struggling so much in the beginning. So after 60 days, after 90 days, I began to see really big improvements. After 6 months, after a year, 2 years later, not even quite 2 years later, about a year and a half later, my husband and I we took his mother on a vacation down to Orlando. And I didn't wear my hearing aid for a whole week and he didn't even notice it. I was dependent totally just on my CI. I wasn't even using the hearing aid side. And so finally, after another year, I said, okay, I'm done. I'm going to go ahead and get the implant on the other side. And what was interesting is when I was activated on the second side, day 1 was perfect immediately. I mean, it's like my brain had already gotten used to learning to hear through a cochlear implant. And it was so funny because it was Valentine's Day, February 14th, that I was activated. And my husband was going to take me to lunch. And we went to a nice restaurant and we're sitting there, even though it was February 14th, we're seated outside because it is Southern California. And there's this guy is removing the glasses and the silverware and the plates from the table nearby. And I said, stop. You cannot do that. I mean, it was driving me crazy, all this racket, because I'm hearing twice as much as I've ever heard before. So I got used to that. But I mean, honestly, I I'm very fortunate. I'm a very good user. No one ever even knows I have a hearing loss. I have more people asking me to repeat something. I never ask people to repeat something. I just got back from being in several countries in the Mediterranean, and people asked, did you have a hard time understanding people with their accents? I said, no, because they were in person, but accents on the telephone can still be a little tricky. But I don't have any regrets. I only wish I'd done it sooner.
Right. Okay, we're going to ask those people who are here, Cochlear Americas. Okay, hold on. I've got to go back on the PowerPoint and go back to got to get to your slides. All right, what happened here? Okay. I'm sorry, I don't know your name.
My name is Carla.
Carla.
Yeah, we've
Okay,
spoken before.
have we?
Oh, yes. Over the years, yeah.
Over the years. I'm embarrassed. Well, I'm glad you're here. And thank you, Mike. This is your, oh, there you go. And this, let's see if this is working. There we go.
Okay. I
And
can use the arrow there though, right?
you can use,
Okay.
yes, you can do that. There you
Okay.
go. And you brought Mike with you?
Yes. Hi. Can you all hear me? All right, let's shake this party up, right? I'm Carla with Cochlear, and this is Mike. Come on over, Mike. Thank you for having us today. This is a very important day. I think we've all wanted to have an opportunity to be a part of the Hear Well Club. Oh, there's some sort of filter on my face here for those of you online. So I am the Cochlear Engagement Manager in Los Angeles and Orange County. My colleagues, Brenda Lopez and Kelsey, got stuck in the San Diego 5, whatever is happening over there. So they called me and I rushed right over because we knew this was a very special event, and we're so grateful to be here today. This is a presentation that was created by my colleague, Brenda Lopez. So I'm going to go through her presentation in the best way possible so that you all can spend time with Mike. Mike is a Cochlear recipient and volunteer, and we just want you to hear from the people who use the device. And Ms. Gail in the front row, Ms. Gail in the stars. She's also a Cochlear Americas recipient. So here's our beautiful team in San Diego. Back in the day, I covered part of San Diego. Well, I covered San Diego and Hawaii, and our team just keeps getting bigger and bigger. So we're super proud of the team that we have. We're cochlear audiologists, teachers of the deaf, we're parents. And I, in particular, come from the educational background. I have a master's in deaf education. So we all know that treating hearing loss with a cochlear implant is because we're treating a sensory neural hearing loss that happens in the cochlea. There's some sort of something happening where the connection just isn't giving you that clear speech signal like you used to have, right? Cochlear makes implants for different types of hearing loss, including sensory neural, conductive hearing loss with our ossia implant, and mixed hearing loss for individuals who perhaps might need an osseous as well. We're also FDA indicated to treat something called single-sided deafness. And I think that's really awesome because treating hearing loss in one ear can have its own challenges. So here's a little bit about sensory neural hearing loss. I'm not going to read through the slide, but some of you might associate with, some of the reasons for the sensory neural hearing loss, right? Including the type of hearing loss that we get when we get older, and others due to perhaps a virus, or perhaps you were born with some type of hearing loss. So again, sensory neural hearing loss is treated typically with hearing aids at first, and then with cochlear implants down the line once an audiologist and an ear, nose, and throat or a neuro-otologist deem you a candidate. So I'm sure those of you wearing a hearing aid that didn't raise your hand, right? Because I think the question was, is anybody here in the room interested in or considering a cochlear implant? So for those of you who didn't raise your hand, this is when you start thinking about, is your hearing aid enough? Are there things you're missing out on? And that's when the conversation begins. I'm hosting an online event on December 4th at 1 p.m. You can join from the comfort of your living room or wherever you like to join your Zoom calls. But love to explain more about how our technology works, because I know we've listened to a lot of the technological things this afternoon, right? So I'd like to invite you, and I'll be in the back and I can share that information for those of you who want to join. Cochlear implants are two parts. Our sound processors are called the Nucleus 8 and the Canzo 2. When you see Mike is wearing Canzo 2. And Gail, what are you wearing? Nucleus 8? Yes? All right. So we have different users, recipients with different technology. One is on the ear and one is off of the ear. So we heard a little bit about implant reliability, but we are number one with cochlear implant reliability, and I can share more about that if you'd like to have a conversation about what reliability means. For me, it means safety. It means confidence that I have technology that I know will last through my lifetime. All cochlear implant companies have easy access to MRI. And so this is a little snapshot of our implant, and the removable magnet that sits on the top in case that it ever needs to be removed, because all magnets cast a shadow. And I can explain a little bit more about that if we have a chat in the back. So there are accessories that come with the system. Each organization is going to have their own. These are our 3 wireless accessories. Accessories are not necessities, but they come with the system. They are tools to allow you to overcome challenging hearing experiences. They're gadgets. Not everybody uses them, but they do come with your system, and I have some of those in the back we can talk about. So here's the slide I wanted to get to, so you can all take a picture of it. Take your cell phones out, take a picture. This is how you would contact Brenda Lopez. She's your local engagement manager, or also with me. And I'm going to hand the microphone right over to Mike, because there's 2 things I think are most important about this journey. It's about confidence, allowing us to provide you with that place where you can feel confident so you can start focusing on hope. So hear a message from hope from Mike.
I'm here to tell you in brief. I'm here to tell you in brief my story, how I got to this point of having two ears on the side of my head that are for looks, and the two in the back of my head work. I had first diagnosed hearing loss at age 3. Some poorly diagnosed infection that wasn't clear. I went to an audiologist, so I'm told at 5, they determined I had a neurosensory loss. I had a lip reading teacher that came to my home at age 6. And I went all the way through school, really not aware of not hearing that well. I went to a university that had very large lecture halls, and I found myself just moving and sitting in the front. That wasn't necessarily cool to sit in the front, you sat in the back. But if I wanted to hear, I developed my own form of shorthand so I could watch the lecturer read their lips and scribble. I'd go back to my room and transcribe my notes so that I'd have something to study with. My first hearing aids were as a freshman in college. I just was missing too much, and that was suggested as a solution. So I've been wearing hearing aids since I was 18. That's at least 30 years ago, right? Yes. And I've probably had 5 or 6 sets of aids. And as someone previously said, technology today is very different. But a number of years ago, you needed to upgrade your hearing aid to give you the strength of sound that you needed. I got my first cochlear implant in '09. My audiologist said to me one day after he tested me, "Have you ever considered a cochlear implant?" I had seen one demonstration, and they said at that time it was for people who were totally deaf because it was still somewhat experimental. And so I set out to research, and other people have spoken today. You research, you find a chat group that all different kinds of CIs, and they're giving the reasons why they liked it, what problems they have. But going through that, I knew this was for me, because what began then and only continued was withdrawing from the world in which I lived. I didn't like going to movies because it was turning to my wife and saying, "What'd they say? What'd they say?" And that ruined it for her and for me. I didn't like watching TV because I had something that could make it very loud, but then what about anyone watching TV with me? It was too loud. So I made the decision, this is what I'm going to do. My audiologist at the time said, "Wait a minute, I only mentioned this to you 6 weeks ago." I said, "I researched, I talked to a lot of people, I'm doing it." And the ear that they did, the hearing was so poor. And they said, "There's a little risk." I said, "This is terrible." So there was no risk in my mind. I had a ReSound hearing aid, which has joined forces with Cochlear, and at that time, and they worked really well together. So any test I had, I would score on word discrimination, sentences, in the 90%, because suddenly I was hearing what was being said. That was tremendously exciting. I then continued, and my hearing continued to diminish in the hearing aid ear. And the withdrawal that I had started to experience, it came back. Oh, I don't want to go out to dinner. It's just too difficult. I don't want to go to a play. I don't want, and I'd encourage my wife or friends to go, but I knew that was not really what I wanted. I woke up 3 years ago on a Sunday morning, no hearing on the hearing aid ear. My audiologist met me at his office, and I said, my hearing aid's broken. He tested. He said, your hearing aid is working just fine. And overnight, hearing went away. I was told to get to the house clinic, which is where I go, and they saw me the next day, and the cure for sudden hearing loss was steroids for 2 weeks. It didn't do a darn thing for my hearing, but I did get stronger, so that was a benefit, I guess. But the result was I had the second implant. So I've had one since 09, one since 21. This is what it's done for me. I'm alive, I'm living. I love this. I'm still in business. I am a business coach, and I used to drive around to appointments. Since COVID, I'm on Zoom. I miss nothing. And it's like, of all the things, this is my reaction, of all the things that can happen as we age, give me this anytime, because there is a solution that a relatively short surgery took care of. People have referred to the experience of being activated. Someone said that chipmunk. Yes, I was in an aviary of at least 100 chirping parakeets. And it was my brain getting used to learning to distinguish sounds that I hadn't heard for a very long time. So I spoke to the parakeets. I said, you've got 2 weeks. And at that point, I'm going to find someone that has a BB gun and go after you. And it took me about, maybe it was the threat, but 2 weeks later, my brain had started to understand that's running water, that's a barking dog, and it was great. I will say this, getting the implant is step one. What really makes it work is the time that we put in to working the exercises that are available online to sharpen the hearing that you gained and let you differentiate. And I think with the first one, I spent an hour a day for probably 2 or 3 months, determined that I was going to milk this thing for all it could do. And I know one person who had both the ears implanted. He's an attorney, a courtroom attorney. The judge said to him one day, you need to do something about your hearing, because he couldn't really participate. He had dual implants, didn't spend one moment doing exercises, nothing. I had lunch with him. He couldn't hear. He's wearing these things. So to me, number one, it didn't give me back. It really let me live a life that we all dream of living. And being in business at this young age that I'm in business is phenomenal. I'm alive and very, very grateful. So if you find yourself starting to withdraw, starting to pull away, from being with friends, going out to dinner. There is a solution. Maybe you're not there yet, but know that it's not the end of your living. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We'll be in the back. We look forward to connecting with you all. We really appreciate your time. Thank you from Cochlear Americas. Thank you.
Okay. Wow, that was really great. Thank you so much, everybody. I have a little something for everybody, and but I don't want to keep you from talking to the Cochlear people. So this is the time to grab a cup of coffee, a cookie, talk to the people, or you can come and talk to InnoCaption if the Cochlear implant is not for you. If you're interested in getting captions on your cell phones. Okay. And thank everybody online for coming. See you December 2nd. Okay.